Vernon Jones, who calls himself the Black Donald Trump. Now, first off, if you're calling yourself the Black Donald Trump, that's the least of your problems, sir. The Black Donald Trump says that the fight for LGBTQ rights isn't a civil rights issue because you chose to be gay. I ain't kidding you. Watch this.
King supported abortions, late-term abortions. You can't tell me that Dr. King did not support traditional families. You cannot tell me that Dr. King didn't support just, enforcing the law at our borders. Civil rights and gay rights, let me tell you, civil rights for blacks and gay rights for gays are two different things.
They say it's the same thing.
But it's not the same thing. It is that, because you know what? I don't know what you are unless you tell me what you are if you're gay. But when I walk in that room, you can tell that I'm black. I'm black from cradle to grave. Let's not get that confused. But they can actually change. You can go from being straight to being gay to being transgender and all these other genders. But when you're black, I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice. So to compare the two, when did gays come over here and shit?
You know, one of my favorite things in Scooby-Doo is one of my favorite things in Scooby-Doo is
You got to do it with the.
Right, there we go. I'd swallow that question number 3. Trump-backed Georgia candidate is disturbing, but unfortunately, it is what LGBT is going to face in the future. Do you think it is?
Yes. He's disturbing on so many. I gotta talk before I take my shot. He is disturbing.
You're going to stand up for the entire
As
race?
a black queer person, I am gonna stand up and say no. I don't.
Wait, with a capital N or a small n?
Wait, with a capital? It's a capital N, capital O. It's all in caps.
All in caps.
Yelling it.
You're yelling it.
No.
Okay.
Like him, Candace, what's her face? Owens. I thought Jones.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe it's me as someone who is much more liberal leaning in their social beliefs, but no. You're really going to say that? And then he's going to bring Dr. King into it. I'm like, Dr. King was cheating on his wife.
He's going to wrap himself in the Dr. King flag.
Like, Dr. King. I'm like, no. Dr. King was cheating on his wife, okay? Like, let's be very honest. Coretta Scott King knew that this was happening, and so did the FBI because they had tapes of it. Like, that's respecting traditional family values. Like, don't get it wrong.
And one of Dr. King's advisors was Bayard Rustin, a gay man. So Dr. King supported our community.
Exactly. Like the communities were very close.
By the way, Mark, it's happening out. If you don't jump in,
I'm going to jump in. I just don't want to land on any bodies. No, I had the good fortune when I was in Atlanta to meet Coretta Scott King at a small gathering, and she made it very clear to the folks that were there that she and Dr. King both believed in the rights of LGBT.
Boom, right there, somebody who met the queen herself.
And to his comment, just because it's not as visually apparent, I'm gay. And it's cradle to the grave with me, just like it is if it was a racial thing. I know, right? Especially at my pool parties, you can definitely tell. But he's confusing actions with choice.
Exactly.
You can act straight but still be gay. It doesn't matter if you're married sleeping with a woman, you're still gay. That's what your attraction is towards. You may be repressing that and acting heterosexual. You don't choose your sexuality. You don't choose your gender identity.
Exactly.
Those are part of your identity, even if they're not visibly apparent.
But have him and other people like him not spoken to queer people?
Oh, he doesn't care about queer people.
It's like, how disconnected do you have to be to actually believe that?
Well, they intentionally maintain that disconnect or only speak to people in their echo chamber, which, yes, YouTube commenters, I understand, we frequently hear that, but our show has had Republicans on here and straight Republicans, gay Republicans, Joy Villa. We listen to other viewpoints. Whether or not we agree with them, different story, but we listen to them.
Okay. Speaking directly to Vernon Jones now. I'm speaking directly to you. You're so ignorant, you're beyond ignorant. First, you're beyond ignorant. But second, for your own race, you have absolutely no idea how ignorant you are on race. I highly recommend Mark, you're a music guy. I'm sure all of us have heard of Showboat and the musical, the Jerome Kern Broadway musical. Showboat, magnificent. The music is magnificent. The story of Showboat is about the racism that took place, especially in Louisiana, in the relationship between a white man and a black woman. And the definition of the time in the Confederate South pre-Civil War was the drop of blood rule. And the drop of blood rule meant you were black or African American, however you Negro at the time defined even worse. If you had a drop of of African American blood in you, you were black. Now, this gentleman, Vernon Jones, defines the fact that you can move around in terms of your identity, and so therefore you have no civil rights. And I would challenge you to read some of your own history, because that was the exact argument that was used against black people in the 1850s. Drop of blood.
Can I just, real quick, you know I'm mad, you know I am mad. But again, for this person, I'm not even gonna say his name because I'm mad at him and I can't think.
Vernon Jones.
Vernon Jones, that's what I was about to say, Candace Jones. Vernon Jones, sir, I understand that you may not agree with the community, you may not understand it, but please understand this, especially if at all you are going to use Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King or any other person who is a part of the civil rights movement as well as a part of any religious movement. Understand that in America, slavery was also allowed because they used the story of Ham, which is in the Bible. They made it that it's okay for people who look like you and me to be slaves, to be enslaved, to be taken from our families, to be separated from our countries, and to not have an actual identity because the Bible says so. Yeah. So please be careful, all of your sources, make sure you understand them, and also please remember that any source, especially if you decide to use the Bible, it was written a while ago, quite some millennia ago, and it was written by humans, human men who are imperfect.
Yeah, that's right.
And one quick addition to that, because he said, I didn't see any gay people coming over on ships as slaves. Yeah, we did. Because guess what? Black people are gay very frequently. There were plenty who came over on the ships just like everyone else. Like,
Science has resolved that. 7 to 10% of every African American, white person, Irish, Chinese, they're gay. Just because you don't believe in science doesn't mean that science doesn't exist.
And he's making it harmful.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the